Hey everyone, it's time for some more Monster Hunter, and today we'll be fighting one of the most useless monsters in the game, that being Gendrome. That said, something I did want to address before we start is I just wanted to thank everybody so much for the growth I've been experiencing, especially in the last week. Just in the last week alone, my channel has almost doubled in size, and I can't even wrap my head around that. I know I don't really do a whole lot of high quality editing in these videos, and I know my microphone is terrible, so I guess as thanks to you guys, because I don't know how else to word it, I did order a new microphone. It should actually be showing up about halfway through the week, and then after that, it's not a great microphone, it is a cheap Chinese microphone, but I did listen to a few demonstration videos using it, and it sounds fine. It sounds alright. The microphone's quality won't be amazing, but it will be better. And for now, being somebody who's a broke wage slave, just barely scraping by, at least at this time, it's the best I can really do right now. That said, once again, thank you everybody so much for the growth of the channel. I don't even know what to say. That said, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. So we've unlocked the 4-star quest now that we've killed the Cephadrome, the land shark quest, and we actually got one of our first large monster bones from that quest. Now, there's actually 2 different quests we can try to do here, and there's actually a couple of different strategies I can try to employ, because in order to get into the 5-star quest, we're going to have to kill a Rathalos. That's going to be the next urgent quest. Now, unfortunately, the Gypsaros, which is used to make the poison battle axe, arguably the most effective sword and shield weapon to use against the Rathalos, he doesn't have his own dedicated quest. Now, there is a couple of quests, I believe, at least one of them. I believe one of them is an egg quest for the Forest and Hills, and this is one where you do have to deliver 2 eggs. It's either the egg quest or another Forest and Hills one. Possibly the Velocipray. Oh, actually, it is the Velociprey Pack one. I remember this very specifically. The Gypsaros is extremely difficult to kill in that mission because he just has really thick hide. I think they overtuned his defense and they kind of nerfed him a bit whenever they made a mission for him in the Western release of Monster Hunter. So what we're going to do is we're going to kill the Gendrome. Tomorrow we can check out the Iodrome and probably do that Forest and Hills quest and maybe try to take on the Gypsaros. But in the meantime, for now, I'll probably do the Gendrome quest, and it's probably not going to be as weak as the Velocidrome. One, because I don't think it stuns with every hit, and 2, because I believe that it can actually paralyze you. But at the same time, it probably won't be no pushover as well. It'll probably do a decent amount of damage. And I'm sure y'all can tell, I did do a bit of off-screen grinding. I grinded for about 6 hours to get to where I am now. I have fully upgraded my hammer to the point where, in order to upgrade it again, I'm going to need some Wyvern Fangs, which I'll need to get to Rathalos in order to acquire. But even besides that, I also have pretty much purchased the entire battle armor set. These are Gendrome, by the way. They're basically Velociprey, but they can paralyze you. Like I said, I basically got the entire battle armor set, which is the best armor that I can buy right now. However, I have the Kutku Tacit because that's what I was able to forge. I can forge the other pieces, but I'm going to need some Kutku scales, and I just didn't have enough time to grind for them. So, as you can see there, the catch with the Gendrome and the Gendrome is just like the Vespoids, they can, unfortunately, paralyze you. And if they do that right as you try to carve an enemy, you'll just run out of time to carve them by the time you get back up. So it is quite frustrating. Their stuff isn't super valuable. I'm mostly getting them because there's 2 different sword and shield weapons I'm trying to acquire. One of them is going to be a paralysis sword and shield, and it's called the Death Prize. The other is going to be it's not the poison battle axe, but it's another poison sword and shield. And in order to acquire it, I'm going to need to... Oh, there's the Gendrome. But in order to acquire it, I'm going to need to kill the Iodrome and the Iodrome. So what I'm going to do here is use a paintball. Oh, I was wrong. So it looks like the Gendrome does have that same bug as the Velocidrome. I guess the same exploit where you can just infinitely stun lock him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try not to die from the Gendrome and see if I can take some of them out. I can't remember if the Gendrome are infinitely respawning in this map, so I'm going to try to kill some of them, and if some more show up afterwards, then that means they'll be infinitely respawning. Yeah, so unfortunately it does look like they are infinitely respawning because there is one coming out of the bushes over there. Yeah, you see his head poking out? He's trying to be... He's trying to hide away, trying to be stealthy. Of course, with the Gendrome, his standout feature is instead of a big orange crest, he has these two large fins on his head. So as you can tell, on the top left-hand side of my screen, since my weapon is, I believe, at the maximum or close to the maximum sharpness level for this game, it was glowing yellow. And yeah, believe it or not, yellow sharpness was about as good as it got in the older games. Of course, I'm going to need to get out of this and heal afterwards. What I was saying about the sharpness is that since it was yellow and glowing, that meant it was at the maximum sharpness level. But now that it's actually lost some sharpness, it looks a little degraded, you know, by the pixelation. And of course, the lower it gets in its sharpness level, the more degraded it's going to look. Until the blade has like this chipped look about, and I think it'll flash red. And that means it's at the lowest possible sharpness, and then you're just going to bounce off of everything and do, like, no damage. So now it's running off, so I'm going to go ahead and chase after it. Well, if I can not get jumped. See, that's what I mean. Whenever you get paralyzed, there's a good few seconds where you just are free to attack from anything. Although the Apsaros here are going to be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of them. So something I am pretty surprised about is that Apsaros over there... Oh, I got to kill 2 Gendrome. Okay, so that's why it's a 4-star quest. But something I was pretty surprised about is that the Apsaros over there isn't choosing violence and trying to come attack me. But I guess I didn't really pay attention to the quest description, so I guess you do got to kill 2 Gendrome, and that's probably the catch for it being a 4-star quest. But before we go any further, I'm going to go ahead and use my rations. And since the weapon has degraded in quality, I'm going to go ahead and use a mini whetstone. And the difference between a whetstone and a mini whetstone really is just that one is a supply item and the other is an item you keep. I don't think there is really much of a difference because they are both one-time use items, and I believe they both only increase your weapon sharpness by 1 stage. I know what I was trying to do is grind out some of the Gendrome parts, but of course they do infinitely respawn over here. And even though it is the desert, you only actively lose health in areas 7 and 2 from the heat. So it is a good idea to not use your cool drinks unless you are going to go into areas 7 or 2. Now, I know I've explained this before, but this here is Area 5. This is where you'll fight Plesioth. It's like a fish wyvern, and you'll be fighting it as soon as you get to the 5-star quest. It's one of the final bosses in the game, basically. I think it's like the sub-boss, like the final sub-boss. Like, it's either the next to last or third from last final boss. But on top of that, as you can tell, the area is blue. And basically what that means is that your stamina will be used more, I believe, but it'll also drain faster. So if you notice my character shivering, and the way you get around that is you gotta use a hot drink. And if I remember correctly, I don't think they override each other. I think you can use a hot drink and a cool drink. But there is that other Gendrome, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this guy and see if I can call him before the Gendrome gets over here. Oh, he's running off. When I was grinding, I did drop the rest of my paintballs before I started all this, so I am a little bit underprepared, but I do have like 20 mega potions in my chest, so it's fine. I highly doubt I'm going to lose this unless I get stun locked by the Gendrome constantly harassing me. But if I can get to my healing and not be stuck in an inf-loop of getting paralyzed, then I should be able to make it out of this in one piece. So I'm just going to spam dodge and hope for the best, because if I get hit again, I am going to die. Camp is right here, so what would be a good idea is to just run over here and hop in the bed. Because no sense in using a potion if you're stun locked and paralyzed to oblivion and it's just pointless, honestly. Yeah, so basically they're crowding around, and yeah, that makes it a lot harder to attack them. But if I can kind of pick at them from the edges and try to get rid of them one by one, it might buy me some breathing room, even if they are infinitely respawning. Alright, since I got 2 of them down, it should buy me a couple of seconds. Of course, you gotta be mindful of your stamina whenever you use the hammer, because if you're holding R1 and you run out of stamina, it will automatically release the attack at whatever stage it was at. Of course, now this Apsaros decided to choose violence. Not really sure what made it change its mind this time, but I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it before it starts causing me too many troubles. As you can tell, they are very aggressive whenever they do decide to fight with you, and they just attack almost non-stop. They are very much harassers. Honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed. This is taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Usually these drone quests are easy, but maybe in the Western version. I haven't played the Japanese version in this game in a long time. I'm mostly used to the Western version, so maybe they were just a bit overtuned in the Japanese version, and, you know, obviously how it was at the time back then, Japanese people are like, oh, in the West, they don't want hard games. I'm sure you know the story of Mario 2, if anybody here knows about any form of games history, but they probably toned it down on top of adding the dual swords in order to make it easier for the Western people to play through this game. I wouldn't be surprised, at least, if that's what it was. Either that, or I've gotten really bad at the game. It actually looks like I can't kill the Gendrome, so I'll go ahead and kill the Iodrome. I'll show you what the Iodrome are like. And the Iodrome are pretty interesting in that they are, in my opinion at least, the coolest looking raptors in the game. I love the Iodrome, and I especially love the Iodrome. It has like this axe head, and I am absolutely in love with it. But I know one of the earlier episodes I was talking about how there's Iodrome in the jungle map, and then it was Velociprey, because I got confused, because in this 4-star mission here, the Iodrome are in the map in place of the Velociprey. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go over to Area 1, right over this way, and there should be some Iodrome there instead of Velociprey to greet me. Of course, it took me forever to realize these stairs were here. I had no idea. So, hey, update. I actually just realized that it's not a Slay the Iodrome quest, it's a Slay the Iodrome quest. So, I am going to have to go on a hunt for the first Iodrome. So, I have found the first Iodrome now. It's actually running over to Area 3, which is not good news, because I'm going to have to contend with the moss swine that's in that area, but also the mailings. I'm not as worried about the moss swine because the Iodrome doesn't have Gus. It actually looks like the mailings aren't here, so that is very good for me. But I did see the Iodrome go this way. Yeah, and there it is, right there. So I'm going to go ahead and tag it. Oh, he tried to spit on me. So I guess it looks like all the raptors in this game do have that stomach bug. Although having to contend with the Vespoid as well is going to make this infinitely more difficult. But honestly, I would rather deal with the Vespoid than with his lackeys that just spit poison everywhere. Of course, I didn't think to sharpen my weapon, but that's okay, because even with the damage it has now, it shouldn't take more than like 15 hits to kill him. So you can tell it's the drone because he has a more significant crest on his head. It's actually like a proper axe-shaped crest. So, he did poison me, unfortunately. Obviously, the way you can tell you're poisoned, it is quite easy. You just see the purple bubbles floating off of you, and that means you're poisoned. So, I am going to have to waste some healing to, out-heal this poison, because antidotes are, unfortunately, quite difficult to come by in the single player. That said, I still have 3 more first aid meds. These Vespoid will be making it difficult. So in the older games as well, instead of having a seamless area where you constantly have to contest with the monster, which I'm sure it made dealing with Adjanath and World quite difficult. But instead of that, you actually have loading zones. So the benefit of that is, of course, that if you do need a minute to rest and heal and, sharpen your weapon and all that, you can take that time to do so. Of course, the drawback is, it does make finding the monsters a bit more difficult, and of course, Loading screens. So I believe the Iodrome is on his last legs now. So this is one of two, but of course he is just kind of standing there looking dumb. But the Iodrome, this should be the last time he actually area transitions, so I'm going to try to take care of him. I actually don't think it's possible in the first game for the drones to enrage. So obviously the Yonkaku, it can get enraged, it'll attack faster, all that stuff. But the Iodrome, I don't think it can get enraged. Alright, so that is the first Iodrome down. I'm going to try to carve, but the Vespoid probably won't let me. So I'm going to go ahead and try to carve, and I'm going to try to carve, and I'm going to try to carve if these Vespoid will let me. Alright, I don't think these Vespoid want me to carve the Iodrome, so I'm going to try to kill as many of them as I can. Let me actually see if I have a flash bomb. I do not, which is unfortunate, because that would make things a lot easier. That is very satisfying, though. I will give the game that. It is very satisfying to just crush 3 Vespoid in a row. But, yeah, that Poison Sac, very important. Of course, I did forget that you only get 2 cars in these missions, where there's only, like, where there's 2 big monsters instead of 1 big monsters. That sucks, but it's probably to prevent people from, like, spamming the quest and grinding them out for too many rewards. I don't know. That's my guess, anyway. But I have already gone through all of my healing, mostly thanks to the Vespoid there, so that's going to make this a little bit harder. Well, I shouldn't give them too much credit. It's also thanks to the other enemies as well. Oh, something I find funny about the older games is these little crabs, these little lobster things. If you get close, they'll just kind of they'll just run away. It happens, like, you can never catch them. It is not going to happen. But hey, I think it's a fun little detail that, you know, instead of just having these monsters, they also have these tiny little endemic life guys. And they don't even see it. They actually have a line of sight, so you can sneak up behind them. But once they see you, they'll try to avoid showing their back to you, and they'll keep backing up and disappear into the water eventually if you back them up too far. So there's a funny little detail. But these Iodrome are, unfortunately, starting to swarm me, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can... Not the Iodrome, their Eye of Prey are starting to swarm me, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find the other Iodrome now.
Hello there.
And what do you know? It is literally right there in front of me. Of course, the funniest part about bunching these guys up together is that they can actually damage each other. So I believe they are immune to poison, so it's not like they can poison each other, or the quest would probably be too easy. But I still think it's funny that you can just bunch them up, and yeah, they'll harass the heck out of you and make it impossible for you to hit the big monster because they keep jumping everywhere. But whenever they don't hit you, they usually end up hitting each other, and I just find that to be funny. So the worst part about this map, and the reason why it's very infamous in the older games, is because, as you can see, the foliage keeps getting in the way and makes it nearly impossible to see anything. And, of course, all the infinitely respawning enemies does not make it any better either. So, I'm gonna go ahead and use a Mega Potion, and then run after the Iodrome. Unfortunately, something I did forget to do is use a mini whetstone, so I'm gonna do that now behind this rock, and hopefully I don't get hit. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get hit. Oh! Huh, I guess not. Alright, and just like that, that is both Iodrome slain. So I think I was poisoned again. I have no idea where I'm at. There we go. So I'm going to try to carve this guy, but it's probably not going to happen. Oh, well, there you go. Weird that I only got an Eye of Prey hide. You think you get an Iodrome hide from it. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. That's probably not going to happen now. Oh, yep, there you go. Another Eye of Prey hide. I guess the Eye of Prey and Iodrome have the same hides? Huh. I could have sworn the Velocidrome had its own hide, and the Gendrome and Iodrome, and what was the other? I think it was the Iodrome, yeah. Gendrome and Velocidrome, and yeah, Iodrome, and I guess Iodrome. Weird. I'm thinking of the Eye of Prey and Freedom Unite, or I guess Monster Hunter 2 in the Snowy Mountains, the ones that spit the ice balls at you. Alright, so I'm going to call it a night here and wrap it up. I've actually been recording a bit longer than I intended to, so this video is going to take longer than usual to upload, but I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Just again, thank you everybody so much for the channel's growth, especially in the last week. I went from 94 subscribers at the start of the week, and the last time I checked my analytics, I think I was at like 172, and that is just so wild to me. Just 80 subscribers in a week. That is like 11 people a day who just look at this channel and they say, yeah, just let me know when new videos come out. I'm having fun watching these videos. And it is making me so giddy because if the channel keeps growing at the rate it's growing, I can make this a full-time thing in like a year or less. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to think. And just being able to put these videos out, just play the game and put out the videos and have so many people subscribe to the channel and comment and give me tips and advice. And the people who talked about the mushroom spots and the comments for some of the last videos, I'll bring that up the next time I'm in Forest and Hills. But even so, just thank you everybody so much again. And I am so sorry for my tangent there, but I just can't stress enough how much this means to me and how genuinely hopeful for the future I am. I'm somebody who's lived in poverty for a long time. I have struggled to make it even this far, and I'm starting to do better in life now. I'm actually starting to be able to save up for stuff I want, like a microphone, even if it is a shitty Chinese $40 microphone. Still, I can get me a microphone that sounds better than the one I'm using on this headset. And knowing that soon enough, I could probably even have a whole community of just fellow monster hunters behind me, helping me every step of the way to achieve this dream of just bring Monster Hunter to the world and show everybody the games and provide guides and just, play through the game and say, hey, this is how this works. And actually, just seeing people say, oh, I've been struggling this for years, but now I know how to do it because I watched your video. It just means so much to me. So that said, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends if you think they're interested in it. And if you're feeling generous, make sure you subscribe to my Patreon. That way I can keep getting stunlocked by Vespoids and Genprey. Bye now.